All right. Hello, hello. Welcome to 2025 and welcome to my Lunch and Learn, where each and every week we explore topics to help you elevate your mindset, be at your best, and radically expand your life and business. And this first week of the new year is officially behind us. It's January 8th. And this past week, people are back to the hustle and bustle of everyday life after a couple of weeks of operating in a slightly different energy at a different pace with the holidays. And from even the last couple days, people are working late just to get caught up on projects that they didn't quite get done before the holidays. Maybe you're back to regular duties and add your New Year's goals and commitments and intentions on top of that, and things are starting to get really, really full. They seemed really simple and accessible on January 1st when you had the day off, but you know what? Now it is reality. Reality is setting in. And for a lot of people, stress and overwhelm comes along with that. So if you feel like your plate was already full and now you're filling it even more, or maybe you just feel the pressure of your life overshadow your goals and your dreams, today is for you because it doesn't have to be this way. And I'm going to share some simple and really effective strategies to help you reduce the stress, manage the overwhelm, and keep you moving towards your goals with ease and with clarity. It will be work. However, you're going to be able to do it and you'll have some space to breathe. So, some of you know me, some of you don't. And I just want to introduce myself. I am Larisa Makuch, author of Stop Procrastinating Your Life Away, Master Results Coach, and CEO of Abundance Academy, where we help professional women ready for their next level of success connect to who they are at a deeper level so they could bridge the gap between dreaming and doing and radically expand their lives and businesses. So I would love to know where you're coming in from. And if you're tuning in by replay, type in replay in the chat. If it's your first time here, type in first time in the chat. I thank you for being here and I truly appreciate your presence, whether you are live or tuning in by replay. Now, I have been very actively setting and pursuing and studying the concept of goal setting for more than 20 years now. It's a topic that fell into my lap, and I've really, truly grown to love and appreciate it more and more as time has gone. And over the years, I've noticed that there are some people who absolutely thrive when they set and achieve goals, and others don't. Others just fall flat on their face. And then there's a lot of people that fall somewhere in between. However, when the stress and pressure adds up, right, there's a distinct difference between those that know how to manage it effectively and those that don't, because they have a different way of looking at the world. They have other tools that can assist them in moving forward. And I want to share some of those with you today. Now, ask yourself, do you want to feel more enthusiastic and truly at ease when it comes to pursuing your goals? Do you want to have more quiet inside your head and more clarity as you move forward? And do you want to see yourself truly be able to handle anything that comes your way so you can enjoy the ride as you go along? Well, if that sounds good, that's exactly what today is about. So let's take a look at stress. Okay. Stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension. It can come from any event or a thought that makes you frustrated, angry, nervous. It's basically how the body and brain respond to any demand. It's a challenge, and any challenge can be whether good or bad. It's like performance at work or at school, or even in your significant like with your significant partner, maybe a life challenge can add stress, and it does add stress. It doesn't matter if it's a good challenge or a bad challenge. It doesn't really matter where on the continuum it is. All change will cause disruption. And when you're pursuing your goals and dreams, if they're worthwhile, you will have to do things you have never done before and start operating differently. You and aspects of your world are going to need to change. And that might be a bit of a reality check for you. That might be a little bit surprising. It might be a bit shocking, because with every change, even good change, it will cause disruption. Now, when you are aware of this, and when you notice that changes in your life will come up, what you can do is you can put the steps in place to deal with it, because it's ultimately how you manage the change and navigate through things en route to your goal that's going to determine your success or failure in life. So I talk about this more in my personal elevation playbook. So this is a little booklet I wrote filled with timeless truths for fulfillment, purpose, and legacy. My copy is very well used. I'm going to either reprint it or maybe tape some of it together, because it has made just such a world of difference to me, to my life, and to my clients' life. So if you do want to explore this further, feel free to just type in playbook in the chat, and my team or I will make sure to get a copy to you. It's absolutely free. It's a digital download, but the personal elevation playbook can help you get resourceful to be able to manage more of these changes in your life. Now, these days, stress, this idea of stress is often worn like a badge of honor. Okay. People are like, oh, I'm so stressed. Oh, I've got so much work to do. I've just got so much on my plate. Like if you haven't said that yourself, chances are you've probably heard someone else say that. And a lot of people unconsciously say this to make themselves feel important or significant. It gives you something to talk about, gossip about, complain about. And I mean, how could people possibly judge you for it? Because you're working so hard for your successes. However, it comes with serious consequences. It could come with serious consequences to your health and well-being, your physical, your mental, emotional, and it's a really toxic thing when you start to see it as what it is. When you really look at the stresses in front of you and you manage them, you're no longer going to need to pride yourself on it. You're going to start cutting that cord of needing to get attention or sympathy by being so busy. You become much more neutral with it when you see that it is what it is. So if you do have stress, it's not a big deal, but you do have to learn how to work with it. And please stop talking about it like it's a good thing. Stop looking for it as a conversation piece. How are you? Oh, super busy. Stop it. How are you? Oh, super stressed. Now cut that out, because what you focus on expands, and you're going to actually bring and attract more of that into your life. It is not serving you, guaranteed. However, if you do feel like that, it's not invalid. I'm not invalidating it. I'm just asking you to stop talking about it, because if you want it to be a constructive thing, then we want to take constructive actions towards it. Now, overwhelm, okay, it's a slightly different flavor when it comes to overwhelm, because overwhelm is when you've got too many pieces of the pie. And it's almost like you're buried under this huge mass. Maybe you feel submerged or overpowered by some kind of massive force. So it's like you're looking at too many pieces of the puzzle at once. And when you have a lot of overwhelm, you don't necessarily know where to start. You're looking at everything and you don't know how to decipher it. And that can add a lot of stress to your life. So when you're pursuing a big goal, there are a lot of moving parts. When you're pursuing any goal, especially a worthy goal, there's going to be a lot of moving parts that eventually start coming up. And if you allow yourself to get caught up in the trap of looking at all the little teeny tiny pieces and forget what the big picture is, you will feel dragged down. Okay. So stress is that physical response. Overwhelm is when you feel completely submerged and just you don't know where to start. Okay, so similar, but a little bit different. Now, when it comes to stress and overwhelm, I'm going to give you a few scenarios that come up that are very, very typical. Okay, and I talk about these in the playbook. So if you want a copy of the playbook, then just type in playbook in the chat. So perhaps one, you're unclear about the direction that you need to take. So you roam aimlessly through life, working hard to get nowhere. Okay, you may have a goal, but you're not thinking strategically. You don't have a plan. You're just like, yeah, I want this. Maybe it's not very well defined. So Clarity is power. But if you're unclear, you're just going to be roaming and going and going. It's like, let's go in a car and go cruising. Where are you going to go? I don't know. We're just going to go cruising. Well, you're not going to have a destination that you're aiming for. Okay. If you're putting GPS instructions in, you need to have a starting point and an ending point so you don't just roam. But roaming will make you feel like you're doing a lot of work getting nowhere. Second, you add too much to your plate and you don't prioritize and organize your commitments effectively. The fact is, you've got 24 hours a day and you're not going to get everything done in one day. Sometimes we're like, oh, I've got this goal. Let's just do it in a day. Let's just do it in a week. We can do it. No. You may be Superwoman. I promise you, you're an overachiever. However, when you try to add too many things and try to do them all at once, what happens is you start, and you have all these things, these aspects of what you're doing started, and they're not complete. It adds a lot of stress. It adds many open loops, and those suck your energy. So it's really important that you do less and do it better. Really start learning how to prioritize the most important things. It's better to do one thing and complete it than to start 5 or 10 things and just leave them around. Okay? It's like if you're organizing your closet, look at maybe one section of your closet and clean that out. Maybe look at your t-shirts, maybe look at your underwear drawer, maybe look at your sock drawer. Okay, I've done this many times this year. I've been purging. However, if I did it all at once, I would have started and my house would have been a disaster for probably several weeks, maybe even a couple months, because I wouldn't have had it in me to get through everything in one day. Okay, so really keeping everything start and finish, and do the most important things and do them well. The next thing, you might be keeping everything in your head and it just gets so full that you cannot see the forest through the trees. If you keep everything up here, it gets very jumbled. And this is something that really leads to a lot of overwhelm. A lot of people are like, yeah, I've got it in my head. And what I experience when people attend my goal setting and dream stretching workshop or my vision expansion workshop, they're like, I've had this in my head and I've never written it down on paper. And as soon as they get it out on paper, they get so much more clarity. As soon as I give them a system to follow so that they can decipher their thoughts, they're like, wow, I really do have clarity. And I thought I had no idea what I wanted. But they had it in their head and they didn't have an organized way to get it out. So if you have things in your head, if you feel like your thoughts in your mind are racing, get a pen and paper and write it out. You can use something digital. However, I'm going to suggest pen and paper because it's going to have an emotional response as well. Okay, so just get it out of you because as you see it in front of you, you'll have the resources to organize it. Next, what happens when you're in stress and overwhelm? As an overachiever, you're probably trying to do it all by yourself because you are an overachiever and you feel this sense of obligation to just do everything and do it all yourself. So it's okay to ask for help, but when you try to do it all, you're going to run out of time. You're going to run out of resources. You're going to run out of steam because you only have so much capacity. And so you really want to look at what parts of this puzzle do you need to tackle and do you need to achieve, and what parts might others be able to help you with. And when you do that, it's going to make such a world of difference. And then last but not least, when you're in stress and overwhelm, you're probably following the crowd and doing things just because that's how you've always done them. Oh, she does it that way, so I'm going to do it that way. Oh, I've done this way for my whole life, so why would I change it now? However, if you have a goal you've never done before, if you're looking to do something that is really meaningful, really different, and very worthwhile, you're going to have to change how you operate. And the sooner you face it, the better. So I want you to ask yourself, okay? So really ask yourself, which of these symptoms of stress and overwhelm do you default to? Which ones do you consciously go to? Which ones sneakily come up? Because some of these are a little bit sneaky. It feels like you're doing a good job, but it's not necessarily serving you. You could probably do a whole lot better if you just really took a look at how you were operating. Is it being unclear of the direction and roaming aimlessly? Is it adding too much to your plate and not prioritizing? Is it keeping everything in your head? Is it trying to do it all because you're an overachiever? Are you just following the crowd and doing things the way you've always done them? So which are your default mode? Which one? There's probably one or two that you're like, I totally do this. And you've probably done all of them at some point. I know I have. So I have no judgment here. However, until you know which flavor of stress and overwhelm you're dancing with, you're not really going to be able to find a solution to overcome it. Now, the sad truth is that successful women live in extreme stress and overwhelm every single day. However, it doesn't have to be that way. A lot of times they'll suffer silently and maybe lash out at those closest to them, passively aggressively adding salt to wounds. And as soon as they are willing to take a couple breaths and be truthful and be honest, as soon as you're willing to take a good hard look at yourself and how you've been operating, that will make such a difference to yourself. You will elevate yourself to higher standards. And when you truly make that commitment to yourself, it will absolutely change your game as you move forward. You will get your goals and dreams, not just to check them off a list, but in ways that will actually make you proud. And that's huge. That is absolutely massive. When you decide to personally elevate yourself, to go within, you're going to regain a sense of pride, control, inner peace. You're going to be set up for success and a beautiful life without blame. But you've got to take ownership. Now, stress and overwhelm can affect everyone. And like I said, not all stress is bad. If you're in the wild and lions and tigers and bears are chasing you, stress is good because it'll get you moving. Okay, you want to have a bit of a stress response when it's important. However, we often keep these stress responses around and they affect us in negative ways. So what do we do about it? I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do in order to reduce the stress and overwhelm as you pursue your goals. So first thing, and get a pen and paper ready if you have, because you're going to want to take notes. So first thing, practice extreme self-care. This might sound simple. This might sound super, super basic, but you've got to put yourself first each and every day. And I'm going to say 3 times a day or more. What you do for self-care might look different from one person to another. So it's not the same thing. It's not a one-size-fits-all formula, but you've got to do something to put yourself first every single day. Something like moving your body, eating well, getting good rest and enough rest, doing things that make you happy on a regular basis. They don't have to be big, but true happiness comes in small little drips along the way. And we'll do a talk on the science of happiness another time. However, how you show up is going to affect how you take on your goals each and every day. And that will make a world of difference. And if you are sourcing yourself, the output you have is going to lead to a better outcome. Now, a second part of this extreme self-care is making sure you regulate your nervous system. So we're not going to get into a big detailed discussion. I've done other talks where I talk about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic nervous system is like your fight or flight, your stress response. The parasympathetic is where you rest and digest. And this is where you're in a more relaxed state. The simplest way to access this parasympathetic state, which is where you want to live most of the time, unless you absolutely need to be in this stress zone. But you basically want to live more of your life in this restful, peaceful place, is simply by breathing. And you can get a lot done in a very short period of time if you're calm. You can still move quickly. It's not like you're sleeping your days away. It's almost like time starts to stand still so you can actually be resourceful to do what you need to do. So the best way and the most simplest way to do this is by taking long and slow breaths until you feel calm. and do like 3, 5, 10, however many you need until you're calm. Lamaze breathing is not going to cut it. You've got to make them long and slow. Okay, so step 1 is extreme self-care. Pour into yourself every single day and regulate that nervous system. There's so many ways to do it, but breathing is an easy peasy way to make that happen. Now, the second thing I want you to do is keep things simple. And this really is about creating order and structure. So we talked about getting things out of your head and onto paper. You can't think clearly when things are up there. Write down your plans. And if you're a detailed person, I love a lot of detail. Have a one-page summary so you can actually keep your eye on what's most important and you don't get lost in your plans. And reference that one-page summary often. Okay, so out of your head onto paper and check those plans. Make sure you create the space and the time for you to pursue your goals in your calendar. If you have activities that you need, if you want to write a book, if you don't have set aside every day or every week to do your writing, it's not going to happen. So set aside the time in advance to pursue your goals. And while pursuing your goals, if things don't align with this phase or this stage of your life, you've got to start letting things go. You might have activities, you might have certain people, you might have certain habits that you've done. However, you may actually need to let things go in order to create more space for your goals. And so cut. Let anything and everything go that isn't related to your goal and stay in your lane. It will help you keep things simple and have order so that you can have laser focus in the direction of your goal. If you have FOMO and you're like, if I give it up, I'm never going to do it again, you can always bring it back in the future when it's relevant. Third, focus on your long-term outcome and short-term process and let go of the timeline. Okay. So second was keep things simple and create order. Third is focus on your long-term outcome and short-term process while letting go of the timeline. Now, you've got to spend time getting clarity of your goal and what you're working towards. And there's this beautiful thing that you're looking for that's far out in the future, that's worthwhile and amazing. However, the activities you do on a daily basis, the short-term process, what you do on a daily and a weekly basis must align with that direction. And you've got to do something every day. As you do that, savor the moment and enjoy the process. Because what happens is when you achieve your goal, you're going to be happy for about 30 seconds, maybe 3 minutes, 3 hours, or 3 days if it's a long time. However, there's going to be so many more moments along the way that you cannot predict today that are going to help build your character and elevate you to be a whole new best version of you, a very radically different version of you than you are today. And so your job is to keep moving forward purposefully every single day. And if you do that, you will get there. If you do one purposeful action a day, that's 365 things by the end of the year. If you do 3 purposeful actions, it doesn't sound like a lot. It's not a big number. But if you actually did 3 things, started and completed them, or made significant progress on them, that would be like almost 1,000 things by the end of the year. And so keep moving forward every day, and eventually you will hit your goal. Might take longer than you expect. However, if your goal is worthy, it's okay. You are guessing at the deadline. Nothing wrong with that, because goals are ultimately about growth. It's not even about getting your goal. It really is about who you become along the way. So be patient and take your time. Focus on the long-term outcome you're getting and appreciate and have fun with the short-term process, because it will happen when God wants it to happen. It's not always going to happen on your timeline. So let that go. Now, if you want to pursue these concepts at a deeper level for yourself and work through your own inner process for outer results, because that's ultimately where it starts. It's got to be inner process for outer results. I've put together my personal elevation playbook, and this is filled with timeless truths for fulfillment, purpose, and legacy. It is available to you absolutely free. All you've got to do is mention playbook in the chat, and my team is going to get that to you. What you're going to learn is what you need to do to have ultimate satisfaction in your life and business. And it's so simple and so accessible. You're going to learn about the things that are going on in your head that you've never had the guts to actually say, or words that you've never had the ability to articulate. It's so cool. And I've got 8 phenomenal questions to help you expand your thinking and change the vision of what's possible for you and for your life. And so in this world, nearly every human can access a wealth of knowledge at their fingertips, yet more people are confused and unsatisfied and disconnected than ever, right? These cell phones they're great, but mental health issues are at record high, and we've got, the world's knowledge at our fingertips. Why is that? Well, people are looking for these quick fix solutions, and they're just looking for external validation. They're looking for the answers to come from AI instead of taking the time to think for themselves. But true satisfaction isn't going to come from the outside. It actually has to come from within. And when you go and operate from the inside out, you don't need to be caught in comparison mode with other people and their Instagram accounts and their TikTok accounts, because you're going to be in your own lane. It's not about how much money you make or what you do. It's about the satisfaction as you move towards your goals and dreams. And here's the thing, you've got to do that yourself, and you've got to take responsibility for that. And I know that so often high achieving women, you're busy, you're doing things. It's not like you're sitting on your butt watching Netflix 24 hours a day, right? You're not sitting there watching daytime television. You're out there working, you're moving, you're in action, you're taking care of your families. You're doing things that 95% of people out there don't do. And you're like, where am I going to find the time to go within? You don't find the time, you make the time. And it might be 5 minutes at a time. It might be 30 minutes at a time in the morning. Get up a little earlier, read through the playbook, start to go within so you can truly have that satisfaction that you desire. That you've got to be committed to just not going through the motions of life anymore. And when you do that, you will look through your life through a whole new lens and thank yourself wholeheartedly. So if you're ready for your next level of success, and this playbook sounds like it might be beneficial, it is jam-packed with 40 pages of knowledge. It is probably one of the most fun things I've created. It is a beautiful project that I did. And I'm so incredibly proud of it, because I know it's made a world of difference to me and to my clients, but it's available to you for free. All you've got to do is mention playbook in the chat and be prepared for it to transform your life. So have yourself a beautiful day. It has been absolutely delightful being here with you. I will be back again next week with some more goodies for you on my Lunch and Learn. And in the meantime, dream big, have fun, and live your life like your absolute best self. You're going to reduce your stress, you're going to reduce your overwhelm, and you are going to pursue and achieve your goals. So I will see you again next week. Bye for now.